Hi, welcome to Coffee with Kim. I am Kim Bassett, your host. And boy, we are going to use the word juicy today. It is going to be a juicy show today. If you are someone who is told you're too sensitive, if you're being told that, you get overwhelmed when you're in large crowds, then definitely this is the show for you today.
Today on Coffee with Kim, coming from California, is Robin Masiewicz. Robin is a wife, mother, and an award-winning florist and designer of 40 years, bringing her gift as an intuitive floral empath to the world through her flowerful wisdom and host of the podcast Transformation Cafe of 500 shows, where the focus is on aspects of health, wellness, and spirituality. Robin believes that flowers are our greatest teachers, expressing powerful messages in subtle and profound ways. Join me in welcoming Robin to Coffee with Kim.
Yoo-hoo!
Yay! Here's like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah. I told you this is going to be such a fun, exciting.
I know. And I'm so glad we are live. Boy, I want to just automatically invite anybody and everybody. If you feel any kind of an inkling while we're having a conversation, it's like, ooh, I want to know this or what or whatever, just bug Kim. Just say, hey, what does Robin or what does Kim have to think about that? Because we just love to extend this conversation. We're going to go for 3 hours. How about that?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
No.
She goes, maybe Robin, but not me. Not
Yeah.
me. I'm good.
This is so fun. So, I have to, if anybody noticed the little bunny picture, she sent me, a ton of pictures, but I saw that one and I kept giggling and laughing. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to throw it in there no matter what. So,
well, that's my Care Bear.
Oh, it's your Care Bear.
My Care Bear
sorry.
onesie. No, okay. That's my Care Bear. No, that's okay. That's okay. It's a pink Care Bear. So, I mean, one would think it was a bunny, but that's okay. Yeah, my daughter's actually a cosplayer and Kim cosplay. If anybody wants to go check her out online, she does streaming and all different kinds of stuff. Uh-huh. And over the years, I've really helped her develop a lot of costumes, and we do a lot of different collaborations with different kinds of stuff. I'm known as her momager, and on her stream, I'm known as Mama Kim. So there you go.
Ah, there you go. So, as we do on Coffee with Kim, we want to hear a little bit about your story, and then we're going to get into the juicy conversation.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about empath stuff, I guess. So, lots of times when people have things happen, what's interesting is some kind of thing happens. There's some kind of an illness, or there's I just keep doing with my glasses. I think I'm going the right way and I'm going the wrong way. There's just something that happens. And for me, my dad passed away, and I was 22 at the time. And what I thought was really interesting is that all of a sudden I just felt like I needed to journal, and I didn't know why. So I started just kind of writing how I was feeling, what was going on, because that was just basically a way of being able to just kind of get in touch with the grieving and everything else that was going on. And all of a sudden I just had this other voice. It was basically wanting to come in. I'd ask a question, and I just have these answers and stuff coming to me. And I was just like, wow, what is this? This is so interesting. And come to find out, it was really helping me to just reactivate my empathic abilities. And when I was little, I would talk to nature. I would talk to the flowers. I was just connected to all things. And of course, when we're little, our parents go, you're not really doing that. That's really weird. You need to stop that. That's not okay. And of course, like, just trying to be the good, good kid, you just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not going to do that. So you kind of just put it away for a while and then figure out what's going to happen with stuff like that. So, being about 22, 23, I just really started going on this quest, and everybody thought I was crazy because, literally for about 20 years, I was just into anything that basically spirit put in front of me, or just different modalities of, whether it was, crystal healing or Reiki or mindfulness, doing just all different kinds of modalities that I've just gotten interested in over the years. And what I really learned from that is it was helping me to basically create this lovely web of just different things I do for a level of understanding. Because like in my bio, it talks about, all these different things over the years have really helped me to be in a place where whoever comes in front of me when it comes to me doing Flowerful readings really helps me to be able to have something that spirit will utilize with that. So I can basically, first of all, know and have a certain level of compassion for what's been happening to that person. Because I've always been really interested in health and wellness and relationship and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that if you're an old soul, you probably have been around the block a few times. You kind of know what you think you need to know. And, so many of the things that I've gotten into over the years is like, I know this. How do I know this? This feels so familiar for me. So it's kind of just like a refresher's course just to kind of get me up and going again. So that's really kind of what my life has been on this different stuff. And my mom decided she wanted to create a flower shop. And our family are basically Air Force brats. And so my mom would basically just throw a whole bunch of crafts in front of us all the time so we can, keep us happy and hopefully out of trouble. So, there's all kinds of crafts. And that really helped me to be a florist because it helped me to utilize a lot of stuff. I have a very inventive mind. And so you can put six things in front of me that people look at and I go, how are you going to do any of that kind of stuff? And I wind up putting it in Christmas trees and whatever, Spirit shows me how to be able to work with that. And that's one thing that you can learn with working with Spirit is that it's all energy. So if I'm working with energy, it's going to show me how to interact with one another to have it be in something that's even more than what it already is representing itself to be. So part of it is just being able to be in a place of I'm going to surrender, have fun with this, and then we'll see what happens.
Right. I used to overthink because I like you used to do it at a floral business. I didn't use fresh. I was more silk, but on occasion I did the real. This last weekend I was at going to my nephew's wedding, and literally my sister-in-law says, we're going to the rehearsal dinner. Can you make the bridal bouquet and everything else? And I'm like, what?
Oh my God. No pressure.
No pressure there. And so, but they turned out beautiful. I learned a lot of things in the process. Had to really kind of go back many, many years of, that experience. But like you said, if you go with the intention and the energy of love and to do something, it just, for some reason, it all comes together.
Well, people think I'm really weird because I say, the flowers are going to tell me where they want to be. Because when I make floral bouquets, being a Reiki master, I basically have asked that anything and everything I put together will have whatever energy it needs to have. So who's ever receiving that is going to get the gift of that. And it could be healing. It could be whatever. I don't need to know. I basically need to know that that's the function of whatever it's going to do. So I really look at, my shop as basically just this place of sanctuary, and people get whatever they need when they even come on my sidewalk. They're like coming out of that property. You're walking through my property, and apparently you need something for that. And hopefully you're, if you're open, your heart's open to that, you're going to get what you need.
Oh, I love that. Now help me understand, because I'm new to this. So what is a flower reading?
So flower readings, actually what happened with me was, here I'm studying all these modalities and all these different things that I'm studying, with different aspects of stuff. And I have a friend who does massage therapy, and she was having a special workshop for like a one day at like a hotel, and she basically had a couple ballrooms that she had rented out so people could be studying stuff. And she says, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on just studying the physiology stuff. So it's going to be really heavy in the morning, and I want to have like a break. So when people come out of that, they basically kind of shift gears a little bit before we go back in again. Okay. And she said, would you be willing to bring a bunch of flowers with some containers and just kind of create like, we're going to make a bouquet. Wouldn't that be fun? And I was like, yeah, sure. I can put that together for you. So I put it together, and I have all these vases, and I'm just kind of walking around and helping to just kind of help people to put things in vases and stuff like that. And then literally all of a sudden I'm like, these people are starting to put the whole thing together, and I'm starting getting all these messages on a soul level for what they, what they could get. And I just said, could I tell you what your bouquet is saying to you? And I don't even know why I was saying that. I was just getting prompted to say it. So I really seek to be in a place of being surrendered on whatever is the agenda of Spirit. So I basically just said, can I tell you? And I'm like, this is this, and you got this going on, and And they're looking at me like, how do you know me so well? And I'm like, the flowers are telling me what's going on with you.
Wow. And, and I think that's, I've been listening to a lot more podcasts, and a lot more books are coming out about intuition, that we all have that. We all have
everybody
the ability.
has it. Yeah. When it comes to like being empaths, we're all empaths.
Yes.
I mean, some people are more wired, more sensor. Like we were having a conversation on Flowerful Living this morning about how everybody, we were talking about crystals and things like that. Everybody is carrying around a cell phone. Guess what? You're carrying a crystal. Yeah. So what is that doing? It's amplifying your downloads of whatever you're getting. So it's no wonder that people are like, and just think of the younger generations. They can't go anywhere without them.
No.
So
So
this level of download when it comes to a sense of themselves, it's like if you can get into a place of balance, you can get into a place of having proper boundaries. If you can get into a proper place of realizing that, it's not my job to please everybody on the planet. My job is to basically try to be a kind, person who's making a difference with people when I'm not sacrificing myself in the process. I don't have to be the doormat. So as soon as I learn a few aspects of what it is and what it isn't, just imagine what this world's going to be like. If we all took self-responsibility for the fact of like, how do I need to be helping myself, my family, my community, and it works into the world. So,
So what is, I mean, people are listening. We have people listening here. What is an empath? I mean, what is that definition?
Yeah, so an empath is just, do you go, this just like Kim was saying, can you be in a room with, be in a crowded area and not feel overwhelmed? If you are feeling overwhelmed, there's some aspects of that you're sensitive to. And, more and more everybody's getting that. And with COVID, I think it's just really been we've just turned the knob up. There's just all these things that are happening with people being able to, there's a reason why we all went into basically, cabins. So we could basically come into this, this night of the soul. And giving ourselves an opportunity to recalibrate ourselves. That's really what I want to say with that whole thing. And now that we're coming back out in the world, the people who are awake and aware, can I be in this moment and be able to connect to myself in a way that I haven't allowed myself in the past? Because it's not a matter of like, you didn't know. It might've been, I'm too shy, or that doesn't feel right, or whatever. And a lot of people are just like, well, heck that, I'm going to do what I need to do now. So I think there's a sense of this, just like, I have never been comfortable being in front of a camera, and here I am. So there you go. My Transformation Cafe. Yeah, my Transformation Cafe podcast, I've got over 500 shows and we've done everything, I'm usually sitting in my pajamas doing my show. So,
Yeah.
Which I'm willing to do. I've got flannel, so it could be fun. If I'm going to dress up, I could be in my my Care Bear and have a show. That'd be wonderful.
Yes, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I get that. And there's the people pleasing, being overwhelmed, being told you're too sensitive, right? All of those things are things I heard,
right,
throughout my life.
Yeah. And one thing that's it's interesting, there's some really wonderful people, like one of the shows that we're doing with that Transformation Cafe right now is Sensitive is the New Strong by Anita Moorjani. And if you don't know Anita Moorjani, she basically had a near-death experience. She went over and she had 4th stage cancer.
Yeah.
And she basically, they basically, she died with her conditions, came through all that. She met her dad on the other side. And he said, your job is to go back and help people to really, really be awake of what they are. She's really came back to help empaths to realize that they no longer be doormats. It took her dying for her to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love, it was called Dying to Be Me.
Dying to Be Me was her first book, and her second one, she's got a new one out too. I don't know if I know the name of that one though, but anyway, she's got out too now. But this is the one we got into, and it was one of those things. Is when I do the show with our cafe book club that we have on our show, it's like whatever seems to be resonating with that I'm getting nudged by spirit to do. So that's when we're really taking our time with this sensitive is the new strong, because it really is. It's about us being as the meek shall inherit the world, the earth. So what is the meek? It's about it being open and being authentic and willing to be be gentle with people. It's not about going around and bullying your way through the world, because that hasn't worked. It's not working now. So why would we be in that place of like, I can be meek and still have, meek has a huge power. I mean, one of the most powerful things you can be on a spiritual level is vulnerable, because you've allowed yourself to have a vulnerability with everything. You're unlimited with your power, because you're basically knowing that I'm not on my own. We are one with the whole planet. So it really allows ourselves to be in a place to really connect with those things that are bigger than us, because they're not really bigger than us. It's just we have kept ourselves small.
Yeah, we have. And I've watched people, myself included, right? I never, like you, I never thought I would ever have a show, right? And it was literally me having this dream of doing this, and I'm like, no way, getting the right people and just starting and having be messy. My first one did not have a promo reel. It didn't have an intro. I mean, there was nothing.
Right.
And so that evolution, and if we just keep putting those steps one in front of each other, we can have that evolution. We can, and connecting with people like you and others who are the the people stepping forward and leading out, with your Transformation Cafe, with, sharing other people's works of art, creating your own work of art. It's just it's just really exciting.
Well, and it's just like, I think that's the thing that we need to go lean into is like, what is exciting me? What do I feel inspired about? What gets me going in the morning, or what gets me going in conversations? Because that's what spirit really is. And spirit is inspirito. I'm not saying that right. Inspirita. Oh, anyway, I'm not good at Italian, or I'm not good at.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Greek, the whole Greek thing. Yeah, no, I wasn't in that lifetime. Didn't really work out for me. So no, I chose not to be on that lifetime. So anyway, yeah. So, but it's being in spirit, and it's that inspiration. That's really what spirit means, is inspired action. Yeah. So it's about being proactive and being in this place of just like, yeah, let's just do it. Let me be spontaneous and see what happens, because we're not alone. I'm never alone. We are never, none of us are ever alone. So that makes me so sad when people just feel like I've got no one in the world. I'm like, you got a whole, chorus.
Yes.
Of, your angels, your ancestors, you got more than you ever know. And a part of that's just, so, I love to get into a little bit about the whole impact thing about, how do I, start connecting? Like I said, I started journaling, and it was just a prompted thing that I just felt like I needed to do that. So you can draw, you can cook, you can sing, you can find all these ways of being creative. It's about being creative in life and letting spirit be that, because I think that's what spirit is. And it's about being connected to God, but being the creator.
So would that be the first tool that you would encourage people to do is to create?
Yeah, just get into a creative thing. Is like, I don't know why, but I need to get some popsicle sticks and make something. Go for it.
Yeah. Be a kid, right?
Right. You know what? And I've done that with my daughters. Especially my younger one, Katie. Whenever she was having a bad day, I would take her down the baby toy aisle, because you cannot help yourself. You go down the baby toy aisle, you're going to find something funny. You just catch yourself having a good time with something. Although once you look at something and like, why did they make that? I have no idea. Is that going to be successful? I did that with SpongeBob. I looked at him and I went, I don't think that's going to work.
That was one of my kids' favorite shows.
50 years later, we have, the anniversary for SpongeBob. But anyway, how that goes, It kind of shows that, like, you're intuitive, you should know that. I'm like, well, it's coming through my filters. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't resonate with that at all.
Okay, talk about that. You were showing me glasses before we started.
Oh, okay. I was telling her I was going to be real like cute about whatever. So like if somebody wanted a flower reading, I was going to basically just change my lenses so I can see from a different perspective. And really, when you're being intuitive, I think it's one of the people I really love is Eckhart Tolle, because he talks about being in that present moment and the power of now. And if you're not familiar with any of that kind of a mindset, I would really encourage you to. And we are so lucky with the internet nowadays. All you got to do is just look up Eckhart, and you can get yourself a great little lesson with whatever he's got going on with different kinds of stuff. Because it's really about that. It's about being in the place of being present moment. John Kabat-Zinn, he was one of my teachers about learning about mindfulness. Mm-hmm. I was one of those people that I just would not sit still. There wasn't anything, I just had to keep going. I had to keep talking. And I went to one of these retreats where I could say nothing all day.
Oh dear. How did you do it that way?
I didn't know if I could do it. And you know what? It really helped me. I went outside and I sat by, I was sitting outside and listening to nature, and it really allowed me to just kind of be in this place. So you have to learn to be able to have that stillness within. And if you don't allow that stuff, society doesn't want you to do that. The world doesn't want you to just be still and know. And I look at the Bible, it's like, be still and know. And what does that look like? And then, there's so much but if you go out in nature, you sit by a creek or a river, and you allow yourself to feel the breeze on your face, and you lean up against a tree and you can just sit there, the stillness. Yeah. That stillness, because, nature and, Gaia is showing you, Gaia is showing you the wisdom that she has within you, and just like with the flower, I love one of the things we're going to be doing on Flowerful Living is I'm going to be offering flower journaling. We're going to be working with that pretty much for the whole year. We're going to have cards and journaling pages and different kinds of stuff where people can really just play with expression. And what does that look like? And having the flowers kind of guiding the way.
So what is Flowerful Living? So explain to them. I'm a part of that, but I want them to hear from you. What explain?
She's like, Robin never told me. She just started talking about this stuff. So Flowerful living is really coming to a place of, just like we're talking, learning to be able to come to that still place within yourself, so your wisdom will rise to the surface. So I really believe that flowers are soul teachers for us. They want to give us a soul messages that we're ready to hear. And a few years ago, I did a whole beta class on the flower journaling, and I had a whole bunch of friends come in, and we literally did a flower a week, and we worked with those flowers. We'd have our buddy, we put it in a bud, a bud vase, and walk around with it. It's so interesting when you take a flower and you put it in a bud vase and you walk around with it. The way people respond to you when you have a flower with you. Because it's like this different kinds of energy. Think about walking into a room and there's no flowers, there's no plants, and you come walking in with a flower bouquet. What happens? Everybody looks.
And it's bright, and
they
it's
feel
happy.
that energy. They feel the energy. They feel something's unique has come in. It's just like having a baby walk in. It's like having a baby come in the front door of someplace. Even if the baby's not saying anything, you sense a change. You sense the change of energy. So you're going to go ahead and look. So that's really what Flowerful wisdom is really about, is being able to tune into that. Yes, each flower has its own unique essence and message. But along with it, there's something that's unique, that's just for you, about why am I feeling drawn to this right now? What is that about? Normally when I do a Flowerful reading, I have people on the internet, because with the internet, they'll basically send me pictures. And depending what's happening in the picture and what I'm getting, because I try to not look at them until I'm actually with that person, because until we actually have that, it's like that's when it gets activated. So I don't want to have any kind of thing ahead of time until I'm actually with that person and we're looking at what needs to be said, and just basically going through with any questions or concerns or any kind of general messages that they want. So, now that we're live, if anybody has anything that they want to share, they could even just give a flower or whatever. And, I could tune into that and we can figure out what that says about you. But
I would love that. I'm hoping somebody does.
Well, we can do you, and we can just start from there.
Okay.
Yeah, flower reading.
Oh, so
okay. What flower is popping into your head right now?
I just bought some lavender. I just bought lavender.
Okay, the lavender plant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Why did the first one I buy die? I wasn't here to water it.
It's easy because part of it has the belief of I buy these things and they die. Right?
Yeah.
So, there's that pre-intention about something, instead of I want to learn about you, and I'm going to learn how we can have this relationship, and, let me know when you need water, and if I make sure that you're out in the sun, because, lavender likes to be out. They like it dry, and they like it hot. Okay. Because one of the most prolific places for lavender to grow is in Italy. And, think about Italy. It's very similar to California in that, especially if you go into the low deserts, you've got the marine layer comes in at night. It basically gives it the water and all that. And during the day, it can get really dry and hot. Right. So that's the kind of environment that lavender likes. So it's just this matter of kind of getting in tune with that. When you come to flowers, you really have to learn their personality, because they're just like anything else. It's just like a bunch of, kids or pets or whatever. They all have the unique essences that they are, but along with that. So the message I get, the fact that you want to have that, is you're really looking at the medicinal levels of what lavender can provide in your life, because it's very much of something that can be a purifier. It's something who can be like an antiseptic. It can be one that really can bring this just a really holistic level of nurturing and love that really just is just having its presence around you, because you can smell it and you can go by and kind of brush it and appreciate it. So it's giving you just kind of a different level of, because living in Las Vegas is, again, with that too, is I miss that. You've got this whole dynamic, because I know her a little bit. So it's a matter of I miss the days of when I was at the ocean in California, and here I am in the desert. So there's kind of this middle ground to help me have a sense of balance. It's like my perfect vacation for me is I would spend some of the time in the forest, and I'd spend some of the time at the ocean. To me, that'd be a perfect vacation. I need to have both. I'd love to have both. Yeah. 3 or 4 days here, 3 or 4 days there. And I love the journey from one place to the other. I just kind of love that whole thing. Yeah. My husband's, we've been really good about trying to create vacations like that where we can do that with each other. So it's that kind of thing of it's not one scenic view fits all. You're not like that. You're in this place of just really being able to just it's the matter of connecting myself to just the beauty of the planet and how all its different ways it loves to express itself. But it's also bringing that in and having it be medicinal, and where I can take it in and I can have it with me. Because I would love for you to take some of that and just go ahead and put it in your bath and allow that to be part of the water. Because taking baths with flowers is so powerful. It's so powerful.
It's funny because I did, even though it died, and I trimmed it down and I took all the things off. So it's all dried and scent. And I thought, I need to put this in a bag and put it in my bath.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can just lay it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. Rose petals, things like that. Having anything like that, you can basically have with you and be able to do that. But I mean, if something's really calling to you, it's really, really great to be able to experience that. Like water is just such a very fast carrier of energy. I got trained in Watsu, and Watsu is basically you would go into the water with your client and basically do hands-on healing or whatever you're doing with them, and it moves 3 times as fast as it would if you're just laying on a regular table. So it's really fabulous stuff. Yeah, and you can play in the water. It's all great. And what's cool about Watsu is it's about the same temperature as your skin. So after a while, it's kind of like like one of those floating chambers or something. You really can't tell where you stop and the water starts. So it's a really neat experience to be doing something like that. But I mean, when I first was getting trained in Watsu, I was just amazed about water, but then it made so much sense. And then you go to, all the different stuff with, the messages of water and all the different things that we've learned over the years about just the power of water. I mean, that's one thing what's so wonderful about just the level of when it comes to vibrancy, about the vibrant levels of energy that we have, is that it all gets carried just in our atmosphere, because it's certain just level of humidity that we have in the air about sending things out. So when people just say, well, how are they going to, people are like, I thought if that person was going to call me, and here they're calling me, how come? Well, part of that got carried in the water of the air for we're picking up thoughts and things like that. So people's like, well, that's really weird. I'm like, no, you're showing how you're empathic. And then that can be a good thing. So it's about meaning. So we're talking a little bit of empathic stuff. So here's the cover of Sensitive's a New Strong with Anita Marjani. So again, we're just doing a real nice long transformation cafe on Blog Talk right now, and we'll probably be changing our carrier for that. But you can always find us that we'll have our shows and stuff out there. So my sister Amy Frost is my cohort in crime, as it were. Yeah, we always have a really good time.
You guys are so dynamic together.
Yeah, Amy's been on the show with Kim, and she's got a spiritual psychology degree along with her business and stuff that she has. So Amy's kind of like she gives them more of the practical and like, here's what we're going to do. And I'm like, hey, let's be crazy and let's do something. So that's kind of what my job is on the show. And but
it's good.
Yeah, it's very good. We have a good time. We have a really good time. I'm the color and she's the facts. Okay. So and then here's a Pathopedia by Dave Markowitz. And Dave actually is another great buzz person is Lee Harris. If you've not heard of Lee Harris, to go to leeharrisenergy.com. And I've been following Lee probably for as long as he's been out there. I had somebody recommend him and I checked him out. Lee does energy forecasts every month. He's very dedicated to his music and he's very dedicated to basically being really good. He has an online called The Portal, which is for his inner community, and he does all kinds of special messages and stuff like that. So if you feel led to that, check out something on YouTube with his monthly forecasts, and to kind of go from there to see what you want to tune into. He channels the Z's, which are a very interesting collective of groups where he's got male and female energies in there, and it's one of those things. If you hear it and it resonates with you, it's worth a little more investigation. Yeah. Because I've always found that with different kinds of channelers, some people I resonate that with and some people I don't. It's just a matter of like, is it helpful? Is it helping me to really learn about myself and the things that I want to do? Like, is it relating to somebody that I know that it could be helpful? Like I said, sometimes we get drawn to things because it's helping us to deepen our tools.
I would agree with you. So for example, for me, sometimes I'll listen to somebody and I'm like, yeah, I don't really resonate, but I find something I can take away from, right?
Right. Yeah,
and then exactly. and sometimes I'll follow somebody for a period of time and then I'm like, you know what, it's not the right time. So really go by your feeling, in my opinion, too, is to, if a book, and I start, I'm like, you know what, this just doesn't, but I keep it. And then sometimes I pick it up later and I'm ready for it.
Well, and I
So,
love how you've always talked about there's just certain books you read every year. You go back and read it again. And I think
yes.
that's so smart. It's like we get to a certain point, I think, in your life, you're like, I got a whole bookcase full of books. It's either I'm going to get rid of them and get new ones, or I'm going to go through those and purge the ones that, that really are the keepers.
Yeah.
And, wisdom is wisdom. It doesn't necessarily, and I think a lot of stuff when it comes to information, I think is just basically repackaging. But I mean, as I say that, Spirit's just kind of going, well, we've turned the page.
Yeah. So another tool.
There's still good stuff out there, but a part of it too is just like, and it's the new improved, and it's going to be shifting. So, there's a lot of
It is what it is. And I just love how you just said that, new and improved. It's always been there. It's just how do you, practice it? How do you apply it? So you said a tool. I want to kind of bring this in a little package here. So you said the journaling. Just start journaling, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And meditation is really, really important too. If you can find something.
I always had a hard
that
time with that.
Yeah, something you can just listen to on that. So, I've got a couple, different people. Eckhart Tolle's got some meditations. There's just all kinds of meditations that are out there. So something that really can help you do, like John Kabat-Zinn has ones where I started with him where he basically did like a body relaxing thing, where you basically go through the body and you relax the body. That's very much of a yoga tradition to be able to learn how to do, walking through the body and relaxing. So he's got a lot of good exercises with that too. So, there's so many people out there now that are doing really great jobs with stuff like that. So it's like finding what resonates with you. Or, just to start, say, hey, Spirit, who am I supposed to go to?
Mm-hmm.
Just ask. I mean,
if you ask, and I know this, people are also another thing I heard too, which it really resonated with me. Somebody, said, if you're waiting for some other voice to tell you what it is, it's your own voice that you're going to hear.
Well, the bottom line, it is your own voice.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Flowerful Wisdom will help you with your flowers. It really helps you to find your inner voice and to really what that is, because that's one of our great partners in the Flowerful Living was Sarah. And Sarah's really great because she's really wanted to, like, she was one of the catalysts for me. Just like, well, I want to learn how to do this. And I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it. And, one day I was just telling her, I just said, well, what do you think, Sarah? It's not what I think. It's what's resonating inside of you that the flowers are helping you to connect to. Yeah. And that was
yeah,
blowing on her. And, and I think part of that too is, being in a level of surrender, being in a level of receiving and being in this new place, because that's the new energy. We're in the energy of receiving. And I think that's why so many empaths are finally coming out of the ward work, because it's always about giving and giving and giving. And we've really realized that there's just so much you can do for giving when you like, I have to start giving to me. I have to be a part of that whole thing, because giving and receiving is your height. You're holding back when you're only being the giver. You have to be the receiver, because somebody out there wanted to give you something and you wouldn't let them. Well, and so they were denied the giving,
It's really interesting that you're saying that, because my word for this year is receive.
Yeah.
And I was just on a conversation with a friend of mine today, and they said, I talked about the fact that you need to be able to learn to receive, because you're denying, just like what you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And just like with the whole thing and I think part of that goes into Spirit's guiding me to share about Dave Markowitz too. One thing that Dave's really taught, and I've just really been introduced to, thanks to Lee Harris. Another one of the things that Lee has offered is called Impact the World. And it's all these teachers of just all different kinds of different things. Some are music, some are intuitive, some are whatever. And Dave is really into helping empaths to be awakened, because he basically realized what he needed to know. And he was asking Spirit, what's the next step of these things? So he's got his 2 books of self-care for the self-aware, which is excellent, and then Empathopedia. And one thing that really was running home for me with Dave was he's basically saying, when we always kind of get this energy and we're basically saying, oh, I have to like change it and make it this blessing before I send it back. And he said, well, really what's happening when you basically just say, I accept everything that is mine and I let go of everything that's not, I send it back, and not even I send it back in love. I just send it back, because I can trust that Spirit knows its agenda. Spirit knows exactly what that person is needing. It came to this world to basically learn lessons. It came to this world to have experiences. And if I bless it or change it or whatever, it's going to take them that much longer to have things get with the way they need to. and I can trust that they're basically getting exactly what they need. Not that I can't be a helper, not that I can't be somebody who can give them a kind word or advice or something if they come to me and they want that. That's another thing we need to learn as empaths, is really saying, I will, if somebody asks me, it's like one thing I wrote that down, that one of Dave's quotes was, being an empath is kind of like having a pocket watch. When somebody asks you the time, you can take it out. And I love that because it really just shows. And like in the shaman way, when you become to a certain level of your shaman as being more of a mentor for somebody, unless somebody comes to you and asks you a question, you don't share because that person's not ready. They're not ready for whatever like you might see something and wow, they really need blah, blah, blah. Like, well, you basically would just, trust that that's what their next lesson is going to be and work on yourself on whatever. If that awareness comes to you, it's something like, well, do I need to work on that more? Do I need to kind of explore that in myself because I'm seeing that in that other person? It's not a matter of like, oh, let me fix them. It's like, what do I need to do to take responsibility for myself? So that's another great way that you can do inquiry for yourself with questions. I mean, asking questions is one of the best things on a spiritual path. Asking, you shall receive. And that is totally the truth. But some people are afraid to ask. And it's like, I ask in a gentle way. I ask in a way that can be a whisper. I ask in a way that it wouldn't, or a tap on my shoulder. I ask that it's not a 2x4.
Oh, I love that you said that. Why is it we like the 2x4s?
Well, because the world has kind of shown us, I think of all these movies and TV and all these other places where you have to have these huge calamities of things happening. I mean, when it comes to media and stuff like that, it's like chaos sells.
Yeah.
If we had like, oh, that was a cute little thing that happened, blah, 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 they're like, oh, well, who's going to watch that? That isn't necessarily something that's riveting for whatever. I mean, but I over and over again, one of the greatest gifts I think I had is I just got compelled one day to start looking at codependency. And I went into a 2-year program at a church. And I love this church. It was Mariners in Irvine, California. And I walked in there, and the first thing they asked me to do was read a book about how people use religion to basically control people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am in the right place.
Okay. Oh, good. Well, just so you know, your speaker is. I'm thinking we can still hear it, but it was for some reason it's changed.
Oh, it got low. Okay.
Yeah. Now we are. We're good.
Okay. So what, the whole thing about Mariners. That's interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of start wrapping things up here. I want people to know how to get a hold of you, but I also want to end this with this really great quote. So I'm going to give people how to get to hold of you, and then we're going to go with that quote that I showed you before we started. All right. So we are going to do this. So you have the beautiful flower shop. And if you would like
for you, Riverside, California, but I can service all around the world. So that's one thing that's what's really great about being a florist. I've been a florist for over 40 years. So I've seen a lot of changes in the industry, but one thing that will not change is the gift of flowers and how it can really change a life. It can change somebody, and science has shown that, taking flowers and sending them to somebody who's, well and not feeling well, it can turn their energy around pretty darn quick. It's like they've done like in care facilities and stuff like that. If you bring flowers or plants into somebody's environment, they heal twice as fast.
Yep.
So it's pretty amazing when it comes like that. So Flowers for You, my 951-689-2711. That's always really great. And then we got our wonderful Facebook pages, the Flowerful Living Community page on Facebook. That's something that Kim and I are joining together with part of our community. And we're getting that ready to launch, and we're going to be doing a lot of wonderful stuff over the next few years. And then Transformation Cafe, again, I've got over 500 shows there on Facebook. We love it's a Transformation Cafe community. Love to have you check out our shows. I love any kind of questions or comments. We have an international cafe. People kind of slide on in, get themselves a drink. We're going to sit down with the cafe.
I know. I love it. The coffee and the cafe. We've got it all right here.
I know. It's great. It's great. We have a little window where people go in the cafe, they go to the coffee. Coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So you held up the book, which I also have the book, The Sense of It with Anita. And this is the quote that she has at the very end of the book. And I thought it was so appropriate because, at the end of the day, Robin, you've talked about a lot of different books and people that you've studied with, but you really are an expert, empath recovery expert, I call you. So, As I move through each day, I allow myself to be who I am without judgment. I allow my thoughts to flow without condemnation. I embrace who I am in each given moment. If I feel fear, I lovingly hold and assure myself without suppressing the thoughts. Until the fear has dissipated, I allow myself the space to be me.
And that's power right there. I mean,
Yes,
beyond whatever it is. So, and if even if she's got a test at the front of that book to basically test, where you are with your sensitivity. So that's a nice way of being able to check in with that too. And, I really love Anita because she's the real deal. I mean, yeah, she's the real deal. So that's my whole thing of when you hear people about their experiences, and how transparent am I? How vulnerable am I? And just being in this place of like, 'cause she knows that this is her life work.
Yeah.
She died to come back and basically have this as her purpose. So to me, that can't be any higher calling, to know that that's why she's on the planet. Yeah. It's just really amazing stuff.
Thank you so much. We could go, like you said, we could go for hours.
3 hours, didn't I? I said,
yes, we really could.
Q&A, let's do it.
Well, we're going to have you back. We already have plans to have you back on, but this empath thing has really become kind of a word that's becoming more mainstream. And I wanted there to be kind of demystify it, to kind of give more form to it and some tools and how to reach out to you for different things. And so thank you so much for coming on and helping.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. And like I said, it's just the beginning of a lot of good changes. It starts within yourself. And, just trust whatever you're being led to do. If you have a passion and desire for it, follow that passion. Follow that. Absolutely. It's going to lead you the right way. Yeah.
It really does. Thank you. All right, everyone. I know we went a little bit over today, but I hope you could see the value and why we did. I want to again thank Robin for being on. This was super juicy, lots of good information. We try to jam pack a lot in here, so you might have to rewatch this a few times to get all the little nuggets. But I appreciate you that tune in, that ask your questions. Oh, we got a person. Oh, we got Lynn. Great job. Thank you, Amy.
She's a sister. She has to say that. It's okay.
I know. No, but we love our community here. We love our guests. Amy was on here as well in the past. And I just, again, being an empath, it is definitely something that you can be proud of and to be strong in. You guys have a great rest of your day.